Good evening, Star Wars fans. It's Wednesday, so you know what this means. It's another episode of Holotheatre. I mean, there's really nothing else to do on Wednesday at this point. So coming to you live again, as always, I'm DTartagOne, also known as DTartagOne. Joining me tonight as my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Matt Lutz, better known as CRG. Uh,
Hello,
to-
folks.
Joining us as our special guest is, you know him as the King of Jokers, or Joker King, Mr. Chris Hall. How are you doing today, Chris?
Pretty good. It's nice to be on. I feel like a long-time listener, first-time callers.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it seems like you do watch the episodes almost weekly, so I'm glad to have you on. Uh, you have been one of the more regular viewers. You always seem to be in the chat at least. So, do you watch? Do you pay attention to the show, or is it just you putting it on and just letting it in the background like a certain Chris Kelly?
I'm definitely an active listener. I can't resist typing in comments, whether it's in the chat for
That's fair.
GIMP or Slack or in Twitch. I have a feeling like I always have to get my opinion out, for better or worse.
You know what? I mean, I see you on Slack, on GIMP all the time, talking to people, and it's just like, okay, if Joker King's on, you know he's gonna say something at some point to somebody.
I've tried to be a little more careful with the things I say, so less incendiary. But
There you
yeah,
go.
That's
I-
all.
I've been watching the chat today, and it's been reminding me of two rules I apply for professional emails. Not every email requires a response, and things should be brief, informative, and factual. Anything past that, you can just set off a flame war too easily. I'd like to avoid that.
Matt, you are clearly not in the military.
No,
he's
no.
much classier than I am. There's no doubt about it.
So I have to ask, where did the name? What's with the name Joker King? Like, it's your Twitch name, actually your Twitch name is King of Jokers. Your GEMP name is Joker King. Your forum name is Joker King. Is there a backstory there?
Yeah, so the forum name and I think my name that I had on Twitch initially and the name I had on GIMP initially was JediCon, and I'd had
Right.
that for
Okay.
a long time. But at some point, I went through a couple years where I didn't log in, forgot my password, so I created a new username. Right, I'm sure many people have kind of been in the same situation if they
No.
take a long break. So that was a username I had used when I was really young, in my teens. So I just reverted to that, and then I would comment on Twitch. People wouldn't know who JediCon was, so I just
True.
changed my username on there, and now I've finally added a little tagline on the forums so they know JediCon equals Joker King.
There you go.
So where did
So-
the Joker King come from?
I think it was just a lot of card playing that I did in my youth. Both of those being kind of cards that you could play. A Joker or King. It's not as if I'm a stand-up comic or anything like that.
Oh.
Nothing along those lines. People have certain expectations when I join their game. They're gonna get some jokes and things back and forth.
Yeah.
They're usually pretty disappointed when it's a good luck, have fun, no reverts.
Well, there you go. So, Chris, how did you get started in Star Wars CCG? Where did the spark of that come from?
Yeah, so probably around 2000, I went over to a buddy's house. I was in high school, and he was really into Star Wars cards. We were both, really liked the movies.
Mhm.
I had just started reading some of the books, and he was showing me his cards, and I thought they were really cool with all the lore and different things you could do. Neither one of us knew how to play the game, and I probably didn't learn most of the rules for another 2 or 3 years after that. But I really enjoyed buying packs. I really did a lot of sports card collecting at the time, so this was kind of a pretty easy way to kind of go into something else I was interested in. And then I took a break from like 2003 into probably 2010, 2011. Discovered Holotheatre, played that for a couple years. Work got busy, took a break again, and then since probably about 2017, I've been pretty regular on GIMP, I would say.
Right. So you were around a little bit for the Decipher, a little bit around for Did you play it all in Legacy on
Yeah.
Holothable?
So
Okay.
my favorite decks were the old ASM
Okay.
and probably Prophet. I liked playing Prophet quite a bit, which
There you go.
I think surprises people considering how much I play Court now.
It's
Yeah,
good.
that doesn't make any sense because like if you anytime I see you on Gemp playing, it's like, oh, Joker King's playing. Oh, he's playing Court. I can just skip that game. Like,
Yeah.
and I will say this: like, you do seem to be the person who brings out Court a lot. So, what made you want to go with Court over a better deck?
Hey now.
Oh, a better deck? What do you mean a better deck?
I don't know, CCT.
I will say that for me, most of the time when I'm playing Court, I'm wanting something I don't have to think about. And Court, I think, is a pretty straightforward deck to play.
Right.
Obviously, the more you play it, the more nuance you can get with some of the plays that you're making. But I could be half awake, load up Court, and feel pretty confident I'm going to be making decent decisions
Right.
in the game.
True.
I suppose probably like CRG and Hyperdrive.
Right.
Similarly, so easy to play, I would say, is the best answer there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There you go. Let's put guys down. Battle. Pay to retrieve.
Yeah,
Hope you
this is
catch.
great.
Hope you catch your other opponent without another force to play an interrupt or
Yep.
fire a weapon.
Yeah, why would no other dark side deck do I get to retrieve 2 to 3 force for initiating a battle? This is amazing.
Right. You got pullable ships. I mean, what could go wrong?
Exactly.
They invade your audience chamber and overflow
Right.
you for like 20 on turn 1.
Well, then you just pray that someone in D&D decides to errata Walkling, so that becomes a lot less likely.
So, okay, so we've been talking about the Game PC over the last few weeks now. As we noticed earlier when we streamed Matt's game, you have the privilege to play Joe Olsen. How are you preparing to go against the world champ?
Lots of alcohol, you know. I think, whatever I can do. I mean, in all seriousness, I think Joe is, of course, an excellent player. He can play really any deck I think he wants to play. I don't think there's, any deck he could roll out that he wouldn't be able to do very well with. So that makes it very difficult to prepare for him. I think more of what I'm trying to think of is what are the decks he might put me on, and how can I maybe subvert some of those expectations.
There you go.
And
I like that approach.
Yeah. I think if I try to get too much in Joe's head about what he's playing, I mean, he's a lot smarter guy than I am, so that's probably not going to end well for me.
There you go.
so what decks are you considering against Joe?
Oh, man. I'm sure he's watching or will watch.
He's not watching right now.
Chris, the only correct response here is a light side deck and a dark side deck.
That is true.
You know what? I'm going to say this. Like, I literally have been trying to get like any information on Matt regarding what he played, deck lists, like, and he's like, no, I can't discuss any of this information with you. And I'm just like, I'm done with the Gem PC. I'm not going to go out. Like, who am I going to talk to? Well, but I mean, seriously though, I'm not going to talk to anybody. I just want to know what's a good deck to play in the OCS. I mean, I go 2-9, or I go 2-10 in February. Yeah, I need some new decks here.
And I managed to play one game, so you're doing better than me. Don't feel bad.
I can't speak to what decks you should play. I can tell you that I went 6-0 with Court and 4-1 with OA, which are both not great in this meta. So I don't know what that means. If people have adjusted against playing those, and I'm catching people off guard, or what?
Right. Well, I think. You and I had a great, I don't remember what I was playing, Hunt Down or versus OA game a couple of months ago. I mean, I think OA is, it's, every time a new errata or a new set comes down, there's always a conventional wisdom discussed, like on the forums or on, I think, probably Slack for the most part, about how deck X, Y, or Z is dead. And I almost always have a feeling that, the obituary of a deck is always prematurely written, TRM notwithstanding right now, but OA is still solid. I mean, you start a ship on the table, you pull, you can take a whole pile of forfeit into hand pretty quickly with strike planning. You get Ray early, and the card advantage, VSET 4 Ray gets you is incredible. I mean, OA got errata, so you're not dealing with such NPE stuff and having Hark Ceph in the deck and all the projections and all the cancellation or the reduction of the force loss on your own battlegrounds.
Yeah.
It's still solid.
Yeah, and I think thinking about it with what Chris Kelly has said about reducing auto setups, that seems to be about the most automatic auto setup as you can get, unless you happen to activate both of your Rays on turn 1.
Right.
There's a pretty good chance you're going to be able to get General Cal Ray up to the system on your first turn.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're going to threaten a drain of 2. You're going to force your opponent to pull the Battle Order Shield. Yada 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 from there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine. I have no problem with OA. I like the deck. I liked when it was a control deck. I thought for the most part it was kind of fine, but I can see how some people don't like the deck. Then again, I'm also the person who likes to say, "Oh, I'm going to play ISB, and just play an hour game, and just make you sit there and suffer."
Right.
It's okay if you want to do that on GIMP. You just have to be slightly faster than your opponent, and then you'll pick up the win.
Right.
So you said you've been playing on GIMP for a while. Were you part of the first edition of the GIMP PC?
No. So last year was the first GIMP PC that I was in. I think I was the 48 seed. So I've risen 8 spots this year to my current perch at number 40.
Well, I will say this though: if you beat Joe, I mean, you're not going to be a 40 seed anymore. I don't think you'll be a 40 seed regardless, because I mean, you got past Connor Britton, Stubley, in the last round. I do believe. Is that correct, Chris?
Correct.
So I mean, you did pretty well there.
Yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised with the performance I've had so far in the GIMP PC. I did predict that I would get to that level to face Stubley, but speaking honestly, he is a better player than me. I think it's fair to say. So I didn't expect to get past him, but kind of had good draws for what the matchups ended up being, so it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Now, what did you play versus Stubley?
Yeah, so for Darkside, which I played first, I played Hunt Down V, which I don't think he or much of anybody else put me on, up against his Legend. And really, right from the beginning, it did not go well for him. I think probably the most surprising card of the game was he put Rose and General Leia at the 3rd marker, and to his chagrin, Ice Storm came out the next turn, which kind of the story.
Unexpected, yeah.
I mean, I can unexpected from a normal player, expected from Jokerking. I will say this though, Jared Napolitano in the chat said that you made it to the top 8 last year in the GEMP PC. Is this true?
Yeah, well, that's right. I did.
Back-to-back top 8s. There you go.
I lost to Jared last year. He beat me pretty handily both games, I think.
So now you got a chance to upset the world champ. How do you feel going into this match? I mean, I know it's Joe Olsen, but he shuffles his deck like everybody else.
True, but I would say that I have pretty low expectations. I'm hoping to just have fun against him. I don't feel much in the way of pressure expecting to lose, so as long as I have fun and enjoy the games, maybe something exciting will happen, or maybe I'll get a focus on OCS the rest of the month.
Sure, that's right. And how? Let me ask, how did you do in the OCS last month? I want to say you went 9-3. Is that correct?
Close. I went 10-2, which was
even better.
Yeah, surprising. I didn't do OCS last year, so this was the first year.
Okay.
A lot of players had suggested that I pick it up, and I kind of felt like I was at a point where I could do it and not be spinning my wheels.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was very happy with 10-2. I think I'll probably draw tougher opponents overall this month if I had to guess. There
you go. I kind of like the randomness.
Yeah.
That the OCS tables kind of bring. I signed up for a season pass last year, and if I played 10 games over the whole season, that's fine. I was only managed one game last month.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I'm a practicing attorney. I'm married with 3 kids.
Okay,
and
see,
I run a
I
whole
didn't.
pile of miles per week.
Okay, see, I don't know
Yeah,
that. Okay, so
I
you
mean,
fair, fair. You got me
they're
beat.
fair.
You got me beat.
Um, I like my bedtime. And so oftentimes when like all the stuff's done in the evening, from a timing perspective, if I'm going to sit down and crank out a game, it's going to start at like 9 or 9:30.
So,
Like I'm playing, for example, we're having our Bestman League stuff is starting up for this season, and we're doing a Premier to Death Star 2, kind of 4-game Swiss with
oof,
each game.
yeah.
What 4 games total, 1 game a week. So I'm going to play my opponent, Friday night at 9:30. That could
Mm-hmm.
go an hour and a half, and then I'm gonna go to bed at 11 and wake up 5 hours later and go run 10 miles or whatever.
You know what? After the military, I can't do that. I mean, I will say this though. When I had to go run like that, it was in Hawaii, which is a little different, but still,
So
but still.
yeah, we're in this odd period of time where it's like bright and sunny during the day, and then it freezes
Mm-hmm.
overnight. So I went out this morning and went down my driveway and promptly went back up my driveway because I wasn't going to deal with the skating rink and falling on my butt. But beside the point.
Yeah. So again, Matt, you played Kyle today. You played him game two.
Right.
Game one. Let's go back to game one though. So game one, you played a CCT versus Kyle's Watch Your Step. How did you feel about that match? Because I know we didn't stream that match. Kyle actually sent me over the uh, the replay link, so I'll do commentary and get it onto YouTube here soon. But just go
Sure.
over that game really quick, because like I said, nobody really saw you play it.
Yeah, so I chose a CCT flip list, and I was putting Kyle on Legend because that's what he'd played previously, or
Yeah.
Hitco, which I think he played at Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So when he flipped over Watch Your Step, I was kind of surprised. He's a Watch Your Step farm puller, which I lost to in Worlds by Tom Kelly.
Yeah.
Kyle was playing instead of Luke Skywalker, Old Man Luke or Rebel Scout, he had Jedi Knight. And so turn 2, or I guess light side turn 1, he paid 9 to put Luke at the audience chamber, and then was promptly bounced back up with None Shall Pass, which was the card I drew my turn 1 out of my force pile. Otherwise,
So
you got to swap and
I was
go
going
for.
to say, was that the last card you drew?
Yeah, that's the card I drew on turn 1.
Wow.
To find it. Otherwise, you got to swap and get like a projective or a stunning or something. And then it kind of was downhill from there. I missed my scum pull turn 2, but got out Darrow and Iggy and started digging, and then managed to put together a package at enough at the AC, so he wasn't going to come there.
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple of beatdowns on Luke at the cantina. Had a battle in space with a space cruiser versus an outrider to make him try to show did he have the goods to protect the thing.
Mm-hmm.
He did, which is probably a mistake. And then he after the second beat on Luke, he drew up when he had 11 cards down. And then I had 22 down after I picked a card out of my force pile with Iggy that turn. So then kind of put him in a hole going into game 2.
Yeah, and I know we talked a little bit before game 2 where you were putting him on a bring him before me troopers kind of a beat down deck, because I will say this, he kind of played a little bit with that last year.
I put him on a bring him before me all Imperials list that he kicked the snot out of me with last year. I was playing Diplo. This is before all the Paul Myers Squassin, or not Squassin, but the Falcon Diplo with no Chandrilla in it. I don't think I've ever beat him, and I lost to a 6th deck playing Hitco against him a couple of months ago. And so I was thinking, because of the difference, he'd have to play like a Hunt Down or a Hunt Down V, or bring him before me. Something that can win by a large margin. So I was kind of surprised we flipped over Siktha.
Yeah.
But I had the goods from turn 1 on that game. and I found my 2/2 site when I needed it. The turn that I came down with Yoda and Ahsoka and Rey, the Grimtosh was in my use pile and hit him for Grimtosh used.
Yeah.
Able to find that again and hit the close calls for the big battle at the end of the game. When once you hit the Grimtosh and you're going to come down with pile of dudes, and it was Luke and Yoda and Princess Leia with Leia of Alderaan on her. And then Kylo got hit and messed. The P-59's game text got canceled. He wasn't going to draw Destiny. I had a gift to the mentor in hand, so I was about to draw 3, all at +1 because of like my father. And he didn't have a Gick. So even if he survived the battle, it wasn't going to be, he was going to be well below the 23 that he needed to be at.
I was going to say, because I think at the end of that, right when he came down to battle, I want to say he had only like 20 cards in his life force. So him losing any amount of cards there would have just been detrimental to him. Yeah, I was a little surprised him flipping that over as well. So, but hey, it happens. And you move on to the top 4. You're going to face Timo Dussel. Timo, who tore it up in the Jawas in Love event.
That guy's got a lot of time to get a lot of games. And I've been really impressed by how much he's played and how much he's improved.
Yeah, and it's funny because like nobody, I bet against Timo.
I don't.
Apparently I'm wrong. I mean, I'm eating crow. But speaking of betting against people, I know somebody in the first round picked somebody else to lose.
That's all right. I'm pretty sure you picked against me also, for what it's worth.
I think I did.
That's fair.
To be fair, you were going against Matt Sokol.
No, I don't think I was going against Sokol.
Oh no, you went against Kingery, and Tractor Beams had just been released, so everybody's like, "Oh, Tractor Beams, Kingery, watch out!"
What is he gonna play?
Yeah.
Right.
But no, I mean, I will say this though, Chris. Good luck against Joe. I really hope you give him 2 great games, regardless of the win or loss. Matt, you played really well. I'm glad to see you in the top 4. I will say this. You've been on a really nice hot streak, Matt, so keep it up. I'm glad somebody from the New Allies is making a run.
Waiting for that dig there.
I will say this. Brian Fred, though, oof. Dude came out last month, went 11-1, had a really good win percentage, and he got the number 1 spot. So congrats to B Fred on that.
There you go.
I will say this though, he was really scared for a while. Like, him and I were talking the night before, and he go, "Dude, you're sitting at 11-1," and I guess at one point Bastion was like 4 percentage points behind him. And he goes, "I hope nobody else who played Bastion plays. I hope they're all done." And he's like, "Have you played your last game?" I'm like, "No." And he goes, "But have you played Bastion?" I was like, "Yeah, I played Bastion. I lost it." He goes, "Why would you do that?" Of course, I'm just messing with him because I didn't play Bastion, but.
Yeah, and Bastion was the other qualifier for last month. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you guys are doing really well. And hey, let's keep this trend continuing, right?
Yeah.
Doing what I can.
So, but you know what? I think it's time we do a little bit of swing and a miss here. We've got 4 good, fun questions to talk about today. And the first one is over under. It's an over under. So the number of players who get to 12 games in the OCS for March. So they'll get their 12 games in March before set 14 releases. And it will be 14 players who get to 12 games before the set comes out.
Now, is Dylan the only one who's gotten to 12 so far?
Actually, yes. Dylan is, I believe, still the only one. That
doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. Jared, though, has 10 games.
So 14 players before set 14 drops.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you think? You want the over or the under on that one?
I will take the under on that one. I think there's, I'll take the under. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. I'm going to take the over for no good reason.
I'm going to take the over because I really don't think Chris has an idea when he's going to put out set 14. So, yeah, I think it's going to go over, and I think it's going to be way over.
Way over. And see,
Way.
the concern is everyone's prepping for the premiere to Death Star 2 event that's starting
True.
In April. And so, while waiting for set 14 to drop, maybe they're running that. I've got to play a Premiere versus Death Star 2 game tomorrow night, or Friday night. I've never played in that format, so this will be different for me.
Do you have a good deck?
I have lists for good decks, yes.
Oh, well, do you care to share them?
I would care to share them.
What is come on. We're all friends here.
That is true. I would care to share them, though.
Hurting me, man. On to question 2. So the easiest way to make more playable decks is through new starting interrupts.
Kind of a design question.
It is a design question, and this is
This
is a Scott question.
This is a Scotland Girl question. That's right.
Yeah. So,
Chris, what do you think?
I will say swing and a miss on that.
Ooh.
okay.
I will take it to hit on that one. And I think here's why. We've seen 2 new starting interrupts recently from design. We had the Rendezvous Point on Tatooine, which is Troy's player card, Father of Gemp. And then we had the Slip Sliding Away. And recently I've listened to some of the old NPC interviews that Kendall did last year. It's kind of like a comfort and something to do during a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone on there talked about how much they liked, at least at that time, Slip Sliding Away, because you had to look at it sideways and think, okay, I know I can use this. I know I can abuse this, but how? And of course, we've seen, Bring 'Em Before Me, and we've seen some Dark Deal decks. We've seen ISB, of course, kind of push that. So, I mean, I think it's hard to make them balanced, but
yeah,
I'll take a hit on that one.
So I'm actually going to agree with you on that, Matt, because as we saw with like Hunt Down V, you could start the Slip Sliding Away. Prophet did see a little bit of boost with the Rendezvous Point, even the Careful Plannings. Like, we forget about those. Like, how good are those and how innovative are those when they first came out? I mean, we saw Phil Asen win Worlds with a Jakku CRV or CPV deck.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that they're good, but at the same time, when decks now are so dependent on themes, like with the objectives, I think better objectives are better for the will be better for making decks playable.
Sure.
I think, and then building upon those objectives are what we need now. I think interrupts are good and they help. They help. Like Prophet definitely needed it.
Right. Yeah, and the thing I like about the Prophet or the Rendezvous Point on Tatooine virtual is that it forces a choice on which seeking an audience you use.
Yeah.
The virtual one is kind of the current kind of traditional Prophet one, but it might not be the best. It might not be.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say this. I would love to see some new starting interrupts. Don't get me wrong. Heading for the Medical Frigate and Prepared Defenses are classic. We've been playing with those for the same interrupts for the last over 20 years now. Why can't we see something new? Like, I don't know. You start with an extra non-battleground site, but you give up to your effects.
Right. Yeah, we saw something similar to that with the map starting interrupt. I think just the issue is you got to try to figure out a way to make them strong enough to be playable, but balanced enough where they don't break something.
Yeah.
And that's why I had swing and a miss for that one. Is it's easy, I think, to have a new starting interrupt, but it's very challenging to have it balanced in a way that it won't be overpowering. It will be good for the game, and I think that design is very aware of that, and they will be very hesitant to kind of create 20 new starting interrupts. I don't think we're going to see that happen.
That's a fair analysis, I think.
Like, if we look at Slip Sliding Away, we've already seen 2 decks that had included it, ISB and Hunt Down Virtual have had changes or will have changes
Mm-hmm.
to kind of reduce the effect of that. And I think that those kinds of interactions are going to make it very difficult to continuing put out those kind of starting interrupts.
Yeah,
Sure,
I agree.
that's fair.
But I will say this though, at least with D&D and most players, they're willing to understand that yes, we do have a playtesting process, but once the stuff goes live, we have the ability to change it to make it better for the game. And as long as we have that ability, sure, make some crazy ass cards. I don't care. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, I
It's all
really
right.
like the CBT team's approach of being willing to listen to what the community is saying and
Yeah.
adjust cards based on kind of not only how the community is feeling, but also what the statistics are saying about is this deck taking up too much of a share in the meta? Is it too powerful?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think I don't know if that's always been the case, but I appreciate where it is now.
Right. Right.
Okay, so
What else you got for us, Dan?
on to question 3. There will be more games of Premiere to Death Star 2 than Jawa games in March. Hands down. I'm going to start with this one. Hands down, it's a hit.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a hit. If only because I think Jaw was a little outdated right now with Set 14 coming out. Also, that they
Yeah.
need to adjust some of the cards in there.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
like
I mean, because rescue.
yeah, that's a big one.
Right.
And
That's okay. I have confidence that the Jawa Council will meet and discuss and adjust some updates.
aren't you on the Jawa Council, Matt?
I am not.
How are you not?
I'm not. It's Kendall, Bill Kafer, and I think Eric Hunter.
I think we need some more Jawas in the council. That's just me. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think Dylan should be on it after his performance in the Jawas in Love. I think.
No, Silverglen should for taking down 12 and 0.
That's
There you
fair.
go.
But
There you go.
I will say this though. I mean, with the tournament being in April, yeah, I can see that we're going to see a lot more Premiere to Death Star 2.
Right. Yeah. Easily, it's a hit.
Yeah. And our last it's a hit question is ISB. The ISB in set 14 will be better than people are giving it credit for. So people are saying that ISB is getting hit a lot because of the whole it's losing its ability to do the doom stacks. I think and I'm going to say this, ISB has been around for a while. It before the slip sliding away and before Moff Gideon. You just got to play it right. You got to play it different. Like look at the 5d6 ISB. Like that one.
Lord and Savior.
What?
5d6 Lord and Savior.
Yeah. I mean that's the best deck that the new allies have ever made.
Hey now.
I'm not joking. It's
There
a
you go.
good deck. It's a really good deck. So I mean, I think ISB is going to be around, and I think people are going to look at it and have some new light. So I'm going to take it's a hit on this one.
Chris, what do you think? Are you a big you big on ISB, or I don't think I've ever seen you play it.
Yeah, I've played it a few times, not a lot. I think the strength in ISB is all of the little utility guys.
Right.
So I think it'll still be relevant. I think the builds will change and they'll be adjusted. You won't see the same thing over and over and over again. But I think it'll still be relevant in the meta.
Yeah, and I tend to agree. I think just like a lot of decks, once it sorts out its activation package, because it's really losing Mustafar and the castle. Once it sorts out its activation package, I think it'll be just fine.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so that's all we got for Swing and the Miss right now. But before we go into the next topic, why don't we talk about some of the stuff that's currently going on in the Star Wars CCG world? So first up, let's talk about the OCS. So currently in March, as we said earlier, Dylan Timo Dussel is currently sitting in the top spot after he's the only person to finish 12 games. He's currently sitting at 8-4. Jared Napolitano is second with finishing up 10 games. But hey, Joker King, Chris, look at this. Your guy in who you just played, Kyle, or no, Matt. Sorry, Matt. After you just played Kyle, he's sitting at 6-1 in the OCS for this month.
Yo.
So let's see.
How
Joker.
about David Woods at 6-0? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, David Woods at 6-0.
Yeah, he's solid.
Justin Miyashiro at 4-0 as well. Casey at 5-2. So I will say this though, everybody's got to get their games in this month. I haven't played any games. Let's see if Chris, have you played any games? Yep, here you are right here.
I am at 5th from the bottom on 34th place with no games played.
But so you know what? You're higher than Joe Olson. And Brian Fred. You're higher than Brian Fred as well.
Somehow, I'll remember this day forever because of that.
So really quick, let's go ahead and check in on the GAMP PC. Again, waiting
so
on...
the other matches remaining are, let's see, Adam Trunzo advanced. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So he's at the top in the final four. Chris is obviously playing Joe Olson. And then we got one more match remaining here.
And then it's the other top four match, which is you versus Timo.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll get Timo. And you know what? There we go. The first person, CRG, you are currently sitting at 100% on your on the predictions.
There you go.
So, and we alluded to this earlier, so get ready, everybody, because April, we're going to have April 1st. It's a Premiere to Death Star 2 event. Again, Jared Napolitano is the one who organized the event. He's putting it all on GAMP. It's basically just like the OCS. You play 10 games, top 8 cutoff. So you have until... May 10th to play the games. And then...
Right, so it's a 40-game season.
Yep.
Essentially. A 40-day season.
And currently it looks like we have 58 people signed up for the event. If you haven't signed up, please do. Because, again, you're getting some good prizes. So, I'm excited. I mean, there's no way I'm going to win this.
Are you playing in it, Dan?
I am playing in it.
You know.
That's why I asked you for decks. I don't have any decks for this event. Like, come on, man. First place gets a Japanese Devastator and an uncut sheet.
There you go.
So that's always good. Looks like they're giving away a few uncut sheets as well. So it's going to be, again, some good prizes. And I'm excited for this one. Besides this event, we still have a lot more coming up for the rest of the year. Online Play Week is in April. So I know we give out some pretty cool foils on GEMP for that. So stay tuned and for those.
Always like those coming out.
Yeah, I know. What was it? Last year was Admiral Trench and Commander Cody, I believe.
Big fan of getting a foil Cody there.
The MPC is in April as well. It's the last weekend. The Top Cut will be playing the first weekend in May. So, again, MPC is probably the biggest event out of the year besides Worlds. It is going to be online again this year. If you're itching to play some more Jawa events, we have the Jawa Brawl starting in June and goes until July. And this is what I'm really looking forward to is U.S. Nationals in July. Now, tentatively, it is scheduled to be in Colorado. So hopefully we'll be able to get that going. So.
Yeah. Excited to hopefully
get
back into live events and things like that.
So, Matt, you've been to a live event before, have you?
You know, I did not. I was around for Continentals in
Okay.
what was, I would say, last year, but that's not like, every time I say last year, I mean 2019. Um, I was around for Continentals in 2019 because I lived 15 minutes away from where it was
Okay.
held, but I couldn't play um, because my wife and I had just come back from Scotland for a week and a half. And so, like, our parents had watched the kiddos, and we had the youngest, who's then 5 months old. I wasn't gonna
Oof.
dump that on my wife for
Yeah, I don't
three
blame you.
days of pushing cardboard around. So no, I have not played in an in-person major. I'm looking forward to doing that, as well as getting back into the monthly events that Mark Walseth hosts
And
here in Minnesota.
and Chris, have you been on to any events yet?
I haven't. I would like to at some point. I don't think I'll still be in the U.S. come July. If I am, that probably means that COVID has taken an unexpected turn for the worst.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we are still in like the 49th week of online play week. I don't think it ever ended from last year. I think it was
Right. It's like, it's
Right.
like when Batmouse was putting all the leagues up that were quarantine week 1 or quarantine week 6,
Yeah.
I don't know if we
25.
got to 12 or what the final number was.
I don't
No,
know. And that's
I,
something
I
we'd
think
have
we
to
just
ask.
I think we just turned it off at some point, and we're just
Yeah.
back to open leagues. That's fine, whatever. But
Okay.
hopefully, cross your fingers.
Yeah,
We're in a
it'd be
position where we
nice.
can do this in person.
Now, I will say this though: Worlds is scheduled for October 7th through the 10th. It is currently scheduled to be in DC, so I'd say if that's the first real live event, oof. One, what's going on with the world, and two, I don't honestly, that'd be great. Uh, I'm excited to come back and play Star Wars sitting across from a person.
Right. No, I think I feel pretty confident about that. I mean, here in
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota, the governor's he said today that he was looking at easing restrictions on in-person gatherings,
Okay.
including looking at getting our state fair to actually go, which is 12 days in August and September that ends on Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
And just by density alone, it's the largest state fair in the
Wow.
U.S. And so the idea of having that many people, they generally clear 2
Yeah.
million over those 12 days. Um, that's a lot of folks together. But if we can do that, that means Worlds is probably a much easier push and go out in
Hopefully.
DC. I've got the dates on my calendar, so
Same.
everything's marked off. Everything's marked off. Don't put a court hearing or a deposition or whatever on any of those. I'm out of town, not available. Although that said, I mean, we're doing everything remotely now, so I could, zoom into a court hearing from,
Mm-hmm.
Virginia. Who knows?
I mean, hopefully the internet should have some pretty good Wi-Fi.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so really quick, last month we had a deck building challenge based around a Highlander deck. Mr. Bill Kafer gave me the idea for this one. Well, again, we only had one person enter, and that was Mr. Solid Snake out of Kentucky, or sorry, Connecticut. He did play a Highlander deck, and he did win. His Highlander deck was CCT. It's a pretty good deck to play in a Highlander event. I mean, a little risky with I mean, you're stepping away from like the none shall passes and stuff, but it looks like he had a lot of protection for his audience chamber.
Probably figure out enough of those in there.
Yeah, I will say this though, I do like the addition of the surprise. That's kind of cute,
It's a very Scotland Grill card.
right? So, congrats to Solid Snack. You will get your prize here soon. For this month, though, we're not going to do a Highlander deck. This one's pretty much straightforward, and it is now available to the public. We are asking for March. It is see who can battle the most in a turn. So, if you can battle multiple times in a game, this is all up for you. So, I think Court would probably.
was
It
gonna
might be a
say.
good deck for this.
Yeah, I think that would work out well. I think there's some interrupts from indoor. I think that you can battle twice at the same location.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know
Right.
if it's coded yet though in GIMP, but that would be a good card for this
Mhm.
Right.
event.
But yeah, I mean CCT or court with a whole bunch of numpties who draw on their own, or like bring them before me. Sure,
Yeah.
it's rough. Now, do you think we'll see the winner get more or less than 4.5 battles per turn?
Ooh.
I think the winner will be more.
More?
I'm gonna say.
What do you think, Dan?
I'm gonna say less.
Okay. I think 4 is probably a pretty good number. That's a lot.
That is a lot. So as
Are we requiring people to win the game?
yes.
Okay, so you got to win the game and get as many battles as you can in one turn.
Mm-hmm. And it does have to be in any of the leagues, so it can be in a Jawa, OCS, open format. Bring a Premier to Death Star to any of those leagues that are currently going on GIMP. You're able to do on this. Also, the other thing is, with this challenge, if your opponent cancels the battle, it still counts.
Sure, that's fair.
Now, if you cancel the battle, it does not count.
Can't stunning leader your own battle at the audience chamber? What?
No, it will not count.
I think something like Court versus Diplo, I think you can see a lot of interaction for sure.
So this sounds like a Scrubs deck that spreads favorable thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So I'm excited to see some of these decks that people play. I'm excited. So again, as always, post a deck, post a review, a game link to the game that you play. Have fun, battle, win yourself a prize.
There you go.
Obviously, it won't be a Green Bay Packers Tau. Nobody wants one of those.
They're too high a demand. You can't spring for that kind of a prize.
There you go. My in-laws, who would like to say that they're co-owners, would disagree with you, Dan.
I'm just saying. Batmouse likes the
There you go.
Packers, so do you really want to be
I do, I
associated
like
with
that guy.
Batmouse?
Sure,
Absolutely.
he's the sheriff of Gemp. Why
Eh.
not?
Okay, Chris, it's that time of the show. Are you ready?
I am so excited to
So-
fail miserably.
You say you're going to fail. I
He's gonna
will say
fail. I don't
this. So I'll give you one hint before I read you the lore. Before I post the lore onto the screen and read it to you. What would you like to know? What set it's from? What type of card it is? Or would you like to know? You know what? I'm not going to say. Yeah. Would you like to know the set or the type?
Can I ask? Can I get that after I hear the lore or before? Only?
Before only. And I'm going to start doing that this week. So you're the first person to get these hits.
Right. So will type include which side of the force it's on also?
No.
All right. I'll go set.
I think that's the smart decision.
Okay. Your set is. Hold on.
Are you just now picking it?
No, I have it picked, but I forgot what set it's from.
He hasn't
Okay.
told me what it is, so
Stand by
Please
for
pick
once.
Palace.
I think
stand
it
by.
is.
for-
It is. Oh man,
I want to say it is Jabba's palace.
this is looking
You
up.
better be right on that, Dan.
No, I'm sorry. It's special edition.
Okay. Well, that could be anything. All right.
Don't worry, I don't. Justin's right on the ball. So it is special edition. Okay, your lore is a Wike musician from Sir Lior. It's on the screen, so you can actually read it.
Let me take a look here.
Studied in a monastery devoted to the Wike god of thunder. Jabba's drum master. Trained in several forms of hand-to-hand combat.
So this smells like a Scotland Grill card, is what I think. Just from the fact that it's a musician, a Weequay musician The only one I can think of, and I think this is from Special Edition, is Akrev, but I don't know if that's true.
So that's your final answer.
As close as I'll get.
You're correct.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
You got it.
I would not have gotten that.
Yeah.
Well played.
I will say I specifically chose a card that can go. It looks like a Jabba's Palace card for that reason.
The set was definitely more helpful
Yeah.
in this situation.
So, congrats, you win the prize. So,
Awesome.
hopefully you'll get me your address here soon, and we can get you out this prize. So.
Sure. Yeah. I think.
And for how long you're going to be at that address.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. So.
You know.
Okay. Well, I think that's all we got for this week. I want to thank Matt for coming on as the co-host this week. Chris, thank you for coming on as the guest, and good luck for against your game with Joe. Do you know what time you're playing that game?
Yeah. So Pacific time, it'll be 9 a.m. So it would be a little early for both of us, I think. But
yeah. Why are you guys doing it so early?
9 a.m. is fine.
It was not my decision. I'll just leave it at that. But to be fair, he wanted to play last week, but I was traveling.
Okay.
So we weren't able to last week. So there was mutual issues with scheduling.
That's fair. Okay, so yeah, tomorrow Joe and Chris will be playing. We'll make sure to get that game streamed, if not by me, by somebody else. Good luck again, Chris. May the force be with you. Play your best court deck that you can.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. But I will say this, Joe's not in the chat, so you can tell us what you're playing.
You can't. Remember, the only answer to that question is one light side deck, one dark side deck.
There you
That's
go.
True. That would be accurate.
There you go.
So again, that's all we got for Holotheatre this week. Tune in next week. Ming Hao will be coming on. He's one of our graphics guys. If you've seen any of the new banners and stuff, the pins that you guys have gotten from the set 13 pin, the world's pin, all those stuff. Ming is the one who's basically doing all this design and stuff behind the scenes. So Ming will be on next week. So I'm excited. And until then, I will see everybody later. So take care and good night.
Thanks, everyone.